So these are my comebacks. There's not a lot of information on Identifix how to. There's no information on Identifix how to fix this. It does say as far as check the oil. I'm gonna have to look into the TSVs that I can't quite look at on my Android since Identifix isn't that compatible. I tried going to the bidirectional feature and doing a active test. Whatever this Vanos is, I think from what I found out, it seems like it's an oil control valve. And I'm not going to confuse myself by thinking outside of that, but when I go to active test or activate, it just fails. I don't know if it has anything to do with the oil. If I go to the live data, it's been running for a little bit. Idle. Did I go to live? Go to live data. Idle motor operating values. Where's the oil? There's the oil level right there. It does specify oil level equal half. I wonder if that's because, but I could imagine that not working because of that. But I'll tell you what, I gotta change the oil tomorrow. And one of the procedures to remedy this is change the oil. I don't have my scope because they Autel sending it back now, and I don't know if I may need that in case I may have to try to scope the cam sensor. Might have to YouTube something. I don't normally have to do that, but I might have to look on YouTube and see what I can find out. Maybe somebody else has been through this. Because I don't work on these cars particularly for this reason. Piece of crap. I'm going to let me see what these valves look like, and maybe I can do a bench test. I can just apply power, because at the moment I'm thinking cam position related, but I'm not going to try to beat a dead horse, especially when this seemed like an oil control valve. Now I did notice these two numbers here. The intake, I'm assuming it's the intake position, and the exhaust, since it's obviously it's exhaust, I'm just going to deduce and say that. But one is 120 degrees and one is negative 120. So I'm going to assume one of those oil control valves are either stuck. So tonight, right now, I'm going to see what these look like. Apply power and probably bench test these and see what they look like. So let me see if I can get this set up. Okay, so I've got some brake cleaner cleaned off this area I'm gonna be working on. Yo boy. Alright, so obviously these oil control valves are down here. Let me see if I can get my pointer right there, those two jokers. I'm gonna see how many pull these off. I can see, this is that shit I'm talking about. This is not even freaking metal. Like, I'm gonna pull these off and see which one is. Let me get some gloves. Here we go. It's two wires, so obviously these are gonna be like, who knows? I don't know if they're ground side switch or high. So I'm gonna turn the ignition switch on, put a voltmeter to it, and see if it has power. If so, I'm gonna take this collar off, and I probably can get something in there to jump and see if it's hear an audible click. Likely, being that these are pretty accessible, I might just go ahead and pull them out. Damn, this motor's hot. Yeah, let me pull them out, get them on the bench, and test them. So this is the bottom, this is the top. I took, these were very easy to come out, got out with 10 millimeter. I'm gonna apply power to this bottom one. It has an audible click. I've also done the top one here, and it also has a audible click. So I'm gonna swap these and see what happens. And if hold on. So I'm gonna swap them and look at the live data again from when it was running before. So I'm gonna review the footage tonight, and if anything changes or if they still the same, then I'm probably just gonna swap one of these valves because it probably might be weak. Also, I'm gonna check the power supply on the system here. I don't know how it operates, if it just constantly keeps 12 volts and the computer has a send signal, but it's getting a little late. But I'm gonna swap them first. If nothing changes, then I'll figure out a game plan for tomorrow. Change the oil because I gotta do that anyway, and check the necessary wiring. See if I got some type of wire integrity from the units to the PCM, and go from there. So I got everything back installed. Swap both of the solenoids, and the exhaust is still on negative 115. Why? I don't know. They both had audible clicks. The solenoids obviously probably are not the problem, being that this negative and positive didn't switch. I don't have any information where it needs to be normal, but I assume that these two need to be in sync. So I'm not gonna confuse myself about what I don't know, but I do know. I'm pretty sure these need to be in sync. Adaptation inlet, adaptation exhaust. Inlet is negative, exhaust is plus. Strange. I want to check. I'm going to check the power sources with the key on, engine off. See what happens, because because the answers might be in my face actually. So like I said, I don't know what I'm looking at. I don't know. I don't have the right information, or what at idle were these supposed to be. So exhaust is at 0.75 degree. The exhaust is showing negative 115. The inlet is negative, but it's showing a positive. That's strange. This is what I wish I had my oscilloscope, because I don't know if the cam angle, like the cam position sensor, could be defective. I don't know. I don't know what smooth operation. I don't know what this is. Operation solenoid. I think that's irrelevant. Motor operating value. I mean, I highly doubt half oil will cause this issue. Auto valve angle, spark. Spark, advance angle, spark, advance angle. What's vehicle speed? I don't know. So let me check for powers on this device, on this circuit here. Maybe there's no current coming through there. I wonder if I disconnect them both, what would happen. Let me try to. So this is what happened when I disconnect both of them. The adaptation inlet from the intake. It went to positive versus negative. The exhaust is still on the same 0.75. That's strange. What does this say? So, unless that's current cam angle with the intake disconnected, and I guess if this is if the adaptation inlet is the command probably, and that's what it wants to do, but the solenoid's probably not operating properly to command it, I guess. So that's changing. So swapping them don't work. I can't command it on with the bidirectional feature. So could there be a stuck gear if these have variable valve? And the gear has to be variating, because this wouldn't be, I mean, this oil control valve wouldn't be in existence. So could the actuator be defective? Solenoid's fine. So yeah, I'm gonna see what happens when I change the oil tomorrow. I'm still gonna check for powers really quick while I got the car here, and I can think what I want to do overnight. Let me give this a try, and I guess this will be like the first part, what's going on. But I would rather a lot of this video at least have some live data versus just like, oh, this is what it could be and repair it. I just hate that I don't have my oscilloscope, and I hate that I don't recognize what the hell I'm looking at. But I don't work on these cars, so BMW. So let me see what I can do. Check the powers, and I'll post that shortly if anything changes. I'll check the voltage. They were making 14 volts on the hot side, so these are ground side switch. Obviously, it showed voltage on the ground side on both 4 volts. So if it's active, I can kind of understand why it would show back feed like that. They both showed the same resistance, so like 28 milliohms or something. So if they're both bad, I can understand them both having. If they both were bad, one was bad, one was functioning normal, I can understand one having a difference in the resistance. But it was nothing crazy. They both showed the same thing. I don't. What else I could do? The cam angle throws me for a loop. I'm just gonna tell you what. I'm gonna change the oil tomorrow. See what happens. Cause this car's stupid. So today's the next morning. The small amount of investigating I done on this car. I was under the impression that maybe this cage was gone, but once I took the housing off, I noticed that there's an obstruction in the filter there. Because normally what happens, that oil falls through and drains off. It can't even do that. I know the lady said she was 1,000 miles over with changing the oil, but that oil filter, I can assure you, has to be obstructed. I mean, it's not even draining back in there. I mean, just looking at it, it just looks obstructed. Like it just have no means of filtering. So what I'm gonna do, change the oil. Of course, I gotta do an oil change anyway. And I hope that this fixes the issue, because I mean, any other oil control valve I've had to deal with, I'm just gonna have to troubleshoot brake cleaner on any other oil control valve I've had to deal with. You know, oil of course is going to be the first thing, the oil level, but this lady doesn't really seem to maintain a car well. I don't know, you know, what happened when they changed it, you know, if they really changed it or not, or she says 1,000 miles over, but hell, it might be more than that. So let me I'm gonna get that tightened back up. Go get an oil filter. Well, I got oil. I'm gonna go get an oil filter and pull this back out and investigate it. But I gotta do an oxygen sensor on that other truck I put a transmission in, so that'll pass inspection. I'll update. So this oil cap off. I just snugged it down from when I took it off the first time. Pull this off and see what this oil looking like. Okay. Oh wow. This might be the culprit. I want the drain. Yeah, the oil is draining down now. Let me get this. Yeah, looks pretty bad. See how hard the seals are. I was under the impression that the little investigation that I done with this, that the centerpiece would be missing. Clean this thing up. Oh, there's the phone. Hold on. Cut it through in the middle. Same spot. Like a coconut. Like you breaking open a coconut. This is how smooth it is. Yeah. Wow. I don't think this came from. Well, it's dirt. I mean, it's a lot of dirt in here. I can't imagine it being. Wow, look at that. That can't be from that. This dirt can't be from what was in my pan here. So from what I understand, it filters out to in. So I'm checking the proper side. Yeah, look at it. Look at that restriction right there. That is crazy. So this could be the culprit. It looked like some metal particles in there. I could probably take a magnet and put it in there. I didn't see any metal chunks coming out, but how does oil get this dirty? That is crazy. Man, I mean, this had to have been well over 1,000 miles beyond the oil change. Look at that. That's crazy. So, all right, enough investigating. So let's put a new filter in here. Oh boy. Hands off. I don't care about that because it's getting all new oil anyway. So if I gotta clean this, then by logic, I need to clean everything I can't get, right? thing. Got the high flow micro guard, right? So, uh-oh. Damn, all my receipts fell. Okay, so we got our little O-ring. So, sorry about that. It's the longest oil change ever. Where's that cage at? I literally put it down somewhere. And I literally can't find it in there. Oh, it's my pocket. So, here's this little O-ring. Snap that off. What if it falls in the depths of the oil valley? Let's take that off. I mean, this is good. I mean, this had to have been changed. So I got this cleaned up. Put this cage back in there. Sits in there like so. Take my new oil filter. Slide it in there like so. Get my new O-ring. Slide it on here like so. Make sure it's sitting on the seat. A little oil on there is going to lubricate it. And we're going to install this. Take my tool part number 86675309. Tighten this up. Alright, cool. And we're gonna fill this up with oil. I want to put 6.5, 7 quarts in there first, and then take it to the scan tool. So this car is fixed. I wish I could take PIDs so I can show the screenshots while I'm driving, but that's not going to fly. Like right now I'm cruising, I'm letting off the throttle, so evidently that 115 angle is normal. I need to look at the old information and see if the inlet intake side is the one that was trying to vary or trying to meet the expectations of what the computer demanded, and I guess it wasn't happening. I guess that's what it was causing them run horribly. But I'm gonna give it a little gas. I'm like, right now I'm at like 1100 RPM, and I've noticed the exhaust side would actually drop, like it's at -70 right now, 68, and I'm at 2000 RPM. Let me give it a little more gas, about half throttle. I'm at 3000. I backed out. So yeah, I mean, there's no more check engine light, the code, no codes. I put 5 miles on it before it would have came right back up within the first mile. So this is a new lesson for me, but I don't want to confuse anyone else. I mean, as far as it being intimidated by this car, it's the same systems off of a regular like a actuating oil system, I guess a variable valve timing system. So I mean, you got an oil control valve, you got the cam gears to actuate, you have the computer that sends the information there, and I'm pretty sure it requires certain inputs from various sensors. But I mean, obviously this code was pertaining basically pertaining the same as any oil control valve system. So I kind of learned something new, but at the same time, I expect to forget it because shit, I don't work on these cars. Saw that the oil filter was restricted, took care of that, tested the solenoids. Luckily, I think that's like the most accessible thing on this car, to be honest. Those came out with no problem. Cleaned those, reinstalled those, cleaned the area. So this is fixed. Didn't throw any parts at it. It needed an oil change, even though we tested everything. Even despite the commands to operate the solenoids with the scan tool. I guess Alltel is user friendly with the BMW here. Maybe I was in the wrong section, but I don't know. They were closely related. So still was able to bench test it. They worked. They operated fine. Swapped the solenoids. The issue didn't change. So that really led me to believe that there was more of either an actuated issue with the gear, or the oil was the problem. And it was obvious the oil was caked up. You saw the debris in there. Put new oil, new filter in there. Checked the oil level through the scan tool. Everything came out fine. Drove the car, no more issues. It's fixed, and all I needed was an oil change. So I didn't shoot any parts at it. Don't throw parts at vehicles. Do the best you can with testing stuff. I guess on to the next job. Peace and grease.